Hey, this is Kevin Kelly. Get ready for the latest episode of the Stardom Cast.
Hello guys and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host Rob Good and I'm joined on this snowy or rainy, in his case, day by Matt Turner. As always, Matt, how are you?
Rob Goodwin, I am great as always. I know that we're known as kind of the lighthearted, fun, and positive podcast, but unfortunately we're gonna have to start this episode off in a little some doom and gloom. I know this is the Stardom Cast, but I really want to talk about one Jay Briscoe, and I appreciate in a text conversation we had yesterday, I asked, hey man, is this cool? And you said absolutely. So that's where I kind of just want to get this kind of just off my chest, and if it's okay with you to start out with my little tribute to Jay Briscoe, if that's okay with you, sir.
Absolutely, you go for it, my man.
So, obviously as time goes on, you always have wrestlers' deaths and creators' deaths and whatnot. And that's just evolution and how things go. But this one, Jay Briscoe passing, this one stings me on a personal and a professional level a lot more than most wrestlers' deaths. Obviously his age, only 38 years old, just a pup in this world, just truly, truly heartbreaking. And then with me, I got to spend with my time in Ring of Honor. Obviously, Jay Briscoe is synonymous, and the Briscoe brothers synonymous with the Ring of Honor. My time in Ring of Honor, I spent a lot of time, in the locker room and learning from Mark and Jay Briscoe to the point where, as anybody knows, the majority of my independent wrestling career has been as a tag team wrestler and just kind of in the locker room after my matches or after, doing ring crew or whatnot, kind of sitting in the back and just kind of mouth shut, ears and eyes open, just watch the two of them, how they put together their matches. And then even after my matches, without even asking, they would, and this was great about Ring of Honor, is you had people that would pull you aside and give you advice without even asking. And Mark and Jay Briscoe would always say, hey man, I watched your match. Can I give you some advice? And this is what you did right. This is what you did wrong. This is how I would improve it. So, both Mark and Jay Briscoe were always great to me. We often talk about on this show, pillars of wrestling. We talk about who the current pillars of Stardom are, and obviously me and you, off air, we talk about the four pillars of All Japan. We do talk about the pillars of Ring of Honor wrestling, and if you know your Ring of Honor history like I do, you have to put both Mark and Jay up there. I always put Mark, Jay, the Briscoes, Punk, Joe, and Brian Danielson. And I don't know what order I would put them in. Ring of Honor, again, if you know your Ring of Honor history, them, so more than any wrestling company around the world the last 20 years have put such a focus on tag team wrestling to the point where a lot of tag team matches have headlined their big shows, their big pay-per-views, and even on shows where there's been world title changes, they would still go on and put the tag team match on last. Obviously, the Briscoes, hands down, the greatest tag team in the history of Ring of Honor. 13-time Ring of Honor tag team champions. They've had the best matches with Kevin Steen, El Generico, the Kings of Wrestling, Chris Hero, Claudio Castagnoli, the Young Bucks. Then obviously just recently, they just had this phenomenal trilogy of matches with FTR. And you kind of go look on Jay Briscoe's career. He literally had the very first Ring of Honor match back at the Murphy Rec Center, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, February 2002. And then he just had one of the best matches, best tag matches, and probably the best dog collar match I've ever seen, even greater than Piper and Valentine. And I love that match at Starrcade with FTR, one of the best matches of the year. So the way that it kind of just bookended him for him and Ring of Honor has been fantastic. And another thing I wanted to point out, about a year and a half ago, I fell down a rabbit hole of Jay Briscoe promos. Especially on Twitter. And I think I even retweeted out and I said, boy, I tell you what, we talk about MJF and CM Punk as, the greatest promos of this generation. Jay Briscoe is kind of in a category of his own because and I don't know if you've ever seen these, Rob. Again, if you just go on Jay Briscoe's Twitter page, there's so many that are on there. And in about 90 seconds to a minute and a half, he can get over how funny he is, how scary he is, how dangerous he is, and sell the match. It's absolutely unbelievable what he's able to convey in these promos. And there's one promo I kind of just want to talk about. I don't know if it's on his Twitter. You can YouTube it. Just type in the Briscoes. And it's called Cosmetically Pleasing. And what the base of the promo is, they talk about how him and Mark went to WWE for a tryout. And they absolutely nailed it. Knocked it out of the park. And of course, they did to the Briscoes. They knocked it out of the park to the point where Mark even called his wife, Jay called his wife, basically said, and again, I'm paraphrasing, "Hey, honey, you don't have the bartender or waitress anymore. We're going to make it. I'm going to make millions. We're set." And then about a day or two later, they got a phone call from the brass of WWE, and they're like, "We loved your promos. We loved your in-ring work. Everybody likes you in the locker room. You're not cosmetically pleasing," meaning the tattoos, the hair, just the way that they look. It's not going to come across to a multi-billion-dollar company. And the psychology of that promo is, once Jay kind of goes off on the billion-dollar corporation, is be yourself. It's okay to be yourself and think outside the box. And, you do what you want to do with your life. And to me, that's just, I remember watching that promo. I thought, man, these guys are so just thinking outside the box, and they're living the way life they want to live, and they're helping everybody out on their way. And another thing that really tugs at my heartstrings with Jay Briscoe is, not only was he a great wrestler, a great brother, just a great guy, he was such a family man, wife, couple kids, and even to the point where if you go on Twitter, there's a video that's out with him helping his daughter at a cheerleading practice, like basically going over like the cheers. And tell you what, for a badass country boy, Jay Briscoe, that guy can move, So it was like, and that really tug at my heartstrings. And there's always kind of a lesson to be learned here, and really the big lesson to be learned is go live your life to the fullest, man. Live your life to the fullest. I know here in the States, the average life expectancy for a male, I think, is like 80, 81. Again, Jay Briscoe passed away at 38, not even half that. But what he did in those 38 years, most people wouldn't do in 98 years. So, like I said, folks, go live your dreams. Go think outside the box. Do what you want to do with your life and live life to the fullest. And Jay, man, thank you so much for all the advice and just making, thank you for all the great matches, and rest in peace, brother. I love you. And hey, reach for the sky, boys.
Yeah, there's nothing I can really add to that touching tribute, Matt. To be perfectly honest, the only thing that I'll add to that is obviously the last that I heard was that at least one of his daughters has had to have major surgery. So keep all of his family in your prayers. Send out all the good thoughts and all those prayers to his family, because that is who needs it. His family. Mark, obviously, who it was his birthday yesterday. I mean, as though it couldn't get any worse. So yeah, obviously our thoughts, prayers go out to Jay's family, and obviously rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. Fantastic wrestler. And you said about the promos, there's two that really stick out to me. There's the one just before the dog collar match with FTR, absolutely blistering promo, and then there was one just before. I think it was just before the G1 Supercard that he delivered for the Gorillas of Destiny. And my God, he was on fire. And I think he was a massively underrated promo in the grand scheme of things. I think it was definitely an underrated part of his game. But yeah, overall, crushingly heartbreaking. And again, I'll just reiterate, make sure you keep his family in your prayers and your good thoughts. It seems weird to transition from that into anything really, Matt, but let's talk about some Stardom.
Let's have a good time, buddy. Let's have a good time. And I appreciate everybody letting me get that. I had that, balled up in my chest for 2 days, and I feel a million times better. So thanks, brother, for giving me the time, and to the fantastic friends and family of the Stardom Cast, thanks for letting me get that out. I love you guys. Thank you. But yeah, let's have some fun now, buddy.
Let's do this. So first of all, Matt, let's talk a little bit about our Patreon. What have we got coming up in the month of January for our Patreon listeners?
Well, as me and you were just talking about 10 minutes before we hit the record button, and I better get this out now because I will forget, did not realize there are 5 Mondays in the month of January, and Rob didn't either. So, as you know, if you were a Red Belt tier member of the Patreon, you get a alternate commentary from myself and one Mr. Rob Goodwin. So it is listener Patreon appreciation month. So the first person that sends us a message, either myself, Rob, or to the direct Stardom cast on either Instagram, the email, or our Twitter, that's the match that we're going to do. So you're going to get a 5th match. So for $5 in the month of January, you get 5 alternate commentaries from myself and Rob. You also get the Hana Future of Stardom Championship reign, which went live about a week ago, and also Starlight Kid Future of Stardom Championship. I'm almost done with the matches there. I just have the last 2 to go over. So yeah. So again, the first person that sends either me, Rob, or the Stardom cast what match they would like for us to do, that's what we're going to do. Few exceptions because February is rivalry month, and I will be putting up the poll on Patreon probably as soon as we get done recording this. So as you listen to this on Friday, it'll probably not on Patreon, excuse me, on my Twitter. By the time you're listening to this, it'll be up on my Twitter. So the only exceptions are you can't pick a match from Starlight Kid versus Zumi, Sherry versus Utami, Kairi versus Io, and Mayu versus Momo, because that's the theme that is going to be for February. And then Rob gets the honor, sir. I guess we're going to tie Ring of Honor back into it. The honor, sir. You get to pick one of each of those matches for our watch along in February. And also, you cannot pick Julia versus Sherry from Dream Queendom, because that will be our bonus episode once we get to 50 Patreons. And we're getting closer every day, and we thank you for that. So, yeah, that's what we have going on for the Patreon. Oh, I know it's not Patreon, but I kind of just want to get this out there. Keep an eye out on my social media page, because there's going to be some really cool Stardom art that I'm going to be posting. The fantastic Haley Stokes, who's done our first 2 logos, the Mayu doing the moonsault, and Julia winning the 5-star, the 2 logos. There's going to be another variant logo that should be out any day now. I will not tell you what it is. I showed the picture that I sent it to Rob. He was 2 thumbs up for it. Also, my good friend Alex Sanchez, who did some Stardom crossover art, Stardom comic art for me. If you remember, he did Suzuki as X-23 and Mayu as Supergirl. I commissioned him to do a few pieces for me, so I should be getting those hopefully very soon. And also, my daughter Lily has doing some fantastic artwork for me as well. I actually just sent that picture to Rob about an hour ago, and he's over the moon for it, as much as I am. So, if you like the art that I've been posting, not me personally, but that I've been getting, keep your eyes peeled on my my social media, as those will probably go up hopefully in the next week or so.
I mean, your daughter is incredibly talented. I can't wait for everyone to see it. And having seen the photograph that Maz used for a reference in terms of our new variant logo, I'm extremely excited to see the finished product, because it's a great photo, and I think it's going to translate really, really well to podcast cover art. And obviously that's going to build to more merch. So if you really like it, we'll add some more stuff to our merch store as well.
Yeah. Oh, so one last thing. Sorry, brother. Didn't mean to cut you off. Also, this Monday coming up, Rob and I will be releasing the next alternate commentary, which will be Julia versus Tam Nakano, not only for the white belt, but the hair versus hair match from the Budokan Hall at All-Star Dream Cinderella. I think it was All-Star Dream Cinderella. Was that what it's called? I'm brain fart here.
The Budokan show, All-Star Dream Cinderella,
yeah,
yes.
I got it. I don't have your book here. I usually have your book, and you might be saying, if you're new to the podcast, you might be saying, Matt, what book is that? That's Living the Dream, Stardom's 10th anniversary show, 10th anniversary in review by my good friend, Rob Goodwin.
Thank you so much for putting me over, buddy. So, obviously, we're here to talk about Stardom. We've got 2 shows to talk about today, which is the last, or the latest, 2 nights of the Triangle Derby. Not a great deal of news to come out of Stardom this week. The only thing that has come out is that Miyu Amasaki apparently sustained an injury, and she is going to be out from the 20th until the 29th. Now, obviously, that's a translation of a Japanese tweet, so it could mean an illness as opposed to an injury, but she's out until the 29th, which does mean that she will miss the New Blood show and the Stardom Awards show, both at Bellsell Takendono Baba on the 20th and the 21st. So really bad luck for Miyu Amasaki there, Matt.
Yeah, I just actually read that about an hour or so ago, and it seemed like that she was just kind of getting back into things. She had a really good start coming out of the gate. She kind of maybe just fumbled a little bit as I think they were putting on her a better spotlight. I thought she had a really, really good showing with her and Azumi as a tag team, as O2 line in the Stardom Tag League. And I always say you always want to get more reps. Doesn't matter if you're wrestling 2 months, 2 years, or 20 years. And we just saw that she's getting more and more reps. She's been looking more comfortable in the ring, and then it looks like she just hit another roadblock here. But hey, that's just what happens in wrestling. Again, it was an illness or she got hurt or whatever. But regardless, I'm a big fan of Miyu Amasaki. I'm excited to see what she does in the year 2023, and I wish her a speedy recovery.
And obviously, we talked about New Blood, this New Blood 7 show, which is tomorrow as we record. She is a part of the first New Blood Tag Team Championship tournament. She'll be teaming with Hina in what is slated to be the main event. I don't think it will be, between her and Hina and Chanyota and Mei Sakurai. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there, whether they just make that some sort of three-way match and then have that tag match later on, or whether they give Hina a new partner. We'll see. I imagine this probably, if they give Hina a new partner, the chances are Chanyota and Mei Sakurai will go through. Hopefully, they'll just delay the match and give us something else, because it'd be nice to see Miyu Amasaki again with a spotlight. That's the whole point of these New Blood shows. And looking at the card, because we'll be previewing it a little bit later, there's no one really that they can slot in. Maybe Azumi, maybe.
Ooh, I thought somebody said Lady C was taking her place in something. Was it that?
Lady C is in a three-way at the start of the show, but again, that could just be made into a singles match, couldn't it? It would make sense for Lady C to do it.
That's what I heard. I heard that it's something with the girl that's Kabashi, that dresses in orange and black, and she has the last name Kabashi, and I'm really excited for that. But yeah, that was supposed to be a three-way. Well, I could be wrong. I've been wrong a time or two, an hour. But I thought they said that they were going to slot Lady C into that spot, and then that the three-way that Lady C was in was now just the singles match.
That will make perfect sense. It's minimal disruption to the card. That'll be the three-way between Ruaka and Marika Kabashi, which is the lady I think you're thinking about. Stick Lady C in the tag match. I'll tell you what, that's an interesting team. Hina and Lady C. Especially, I'll be perfectly honest, Lady C has been really impressive so far in this Triangle Derby, especially on these two shows, actually. So it'll be interesting to see who gets the rub in that match.
Damn right.
We'll go
Lady
through...
C, you heard it first, folks. Rob Goodwin just said Lady C has looked very impressive. So there you go.
She shed all references of the Great Khasi.
It is.
We'll preview New Blood a bit later. But let's delve into the shows for the Triangle Derby. Obviously, this tournament continues to roll on with back-to-back nights in Osaka Edion Arena 2. What I'll do is I'll do what I usually do with these longer sort of Road 2 shows. They're not Road 2 shows because the Triangle Derby shows, but you get my idea. I'm going to read through all the results and then we'll sort of pick apart each match, really. So night 1 from Osaka, it was on Saturday the 14th of January 2023 from the Edion Arena Osaka 2 in Tokyo with an attendance of 406. We start with a tag team match with the Peach Rock team defeating Miyu Amasaki and Waka Tsukiyama, with Momo Kogo getting the pin with a neck to Peach in 8 minutes and 51 seconds. We then get a whole slew of Triangle Derby block matches. All of these were Triangle Derby block matches. The Unique Glare team of Starlight Kid, Ruaka, and Haruka Umasaki defeated the My Himi with C team of Maika Himika and Lady C, with Ruaka getting the pinfall with the Freezer Bomb in 9 minutes and 12 seconds. Match 3 was Club Venus, moving to 4 points, defeating the Classmates team of Hazuki, Sayurida, and Koguma, with Mariah May's Tombstone Piledriver that she christened Happily Ever After in 10 minutes and 3 seconds. Match 4, Triangle Derby match again, 7-Up, getting their second consecutive win with a little bit of an upset, actually, defeating Prominence with the refrigerator bomb in 13 minutes and 21 seconds. Match 5 saw Gold Ship get to 4 points, defeating the Queen's Quest team of Utami Hayashishita, Azumi, and Saya Kamatani in 11 minutes and 6 seconds in what I consider a massive shock. Our semi-main saw Aberembo God's Eye going to 5 points, defeating the Bari Bari Bombers team, which saw a little bit of a matchup between Suri and Julia, with Mirai submitting Mei Sakurai with the Mirror Mare in 13 minutes and 47 seconds. And then our main event of this night was Cosmic Angels, Natsupoi, Tam Nakano, and Saki moving to 4 points, defeating the Rebel and Enemy team, who remain on 2 points, with Tam Nakano getting the pinfall with the Tiger Suplex in 11 minutes and 55 seconds. Matt, what match would you like to talk about first?
Real quick, I just want to talk about the opener, even though it wasn't a Triangle Derby match. Nice to see Peach Rock. I thought they did a great job during the tag league, so it was nice to see them just really almost picking up where they left off. And nice to see that Momo Kogo getting the win with the Nectar Peach. It always seems like she uses that almost as a setup for somebody else in the Stars team to kind of maybe wear them down, and then maybe Mayu comes in with the moonsault, or Hazuki promptly kicks somebody's face off. But it was nice to see Momo Kogo in the opener, not only getting the win, but maybe starting to put her finisher over.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, I think that the best thing to do with Momo Kogo at the moment, who, again, looked really good over these two nights, is to keep teaming her with Mayu. Whenever she's not on the card, team her with Mayu, because the more she's with Mayu, the more she's with Hazuki, Koguma, she's getting that in-ring experience, and she's picking up her timings and things like that, and you can tell that it's really benefiting her. The Goddess of Stardom Tag League, even though Peach Rock ended with barely any points, and obviously there was that little bit of a storyline between Momo Kogo and Hazuki, I thought you could see a noted improvement, similar to what you were saying about Miyu Amasaki and Azumi. I think the Goddess of Storm Tag League has really, really, really benefited Momo Kogo. And we've seen it before, obviously, the Wingori team back in 2020 of Sayurida and Hanan. I thought that was a real breakout tournament for Hanan. So it's nice to see that they entrusted. They gave Momo Kogo the win here. I thought it was a decent match, to be perfectly honest, Matt.
Yeah, I had 3.25 stars. I thought it was a really good opener.
Yeah, I gave it 3.25 as well. Obviously, we're just going to bip and bop around these Triangle Derby matches. I just wanted to talk about Club Venus for a second, Matt, because you weren't, on our last episode, I don't want to say you weren't hot on Club Venus. You had a couple...
Some problems?
Yeah,
hiccups.
You had a couple of hiccups, let's call it that. A couple of hiccups with Mariah May and Zaya Brooks' side. Did they rectify those hiccups over these two shows, do you think?
Rob, you're halfway across the world, and are you looking at my notes? Because I literally have really enjoyed this match. Club Venus starting to gel. I think there'll be big stars coming out here. Then that was my next thing I want to talk about. I was just going to talk about match 2, about how I echo your sentiments as all the time, as I think Mike is going to be a huge, huge star in 2023. But going on to this, Club Venus I thought was really great here. It just seemed like they looked really good at that Corkin Hall show against God's Eye, and they think they look just okay other than that. But now it really seems like they're starting to find maybe their footing, if that makes any sense. And then you're in the ring with Saya Ida, who, granted, we all know she eats a lot of falls, but for only wrestling a few years, Saya Ida's fantastic. She plays her role not only in Stars real well, but Stardom real well. She's got a really good niche at what she's doing. And then she's tagging with one of the, in my opinion, the Stardom tag team of 2022, like the tag team of the year with Hazuki and Koguma. So I think that they're gelling very well together. I thought these two teams worked really, really well together. And I have a note in here that I would love to see a Hazuki Mina Shirakawa match somewhere down the line. And I know you have Mina Shirakawa pegged as possibly the person to upend Saya Kamatani's white belt run. And I have Hazuki. So maybe that's a white belt match somewhere, maybe in the summer or fall. Who knows? But I thought the match was really good. I think that the way Mina, she's reminding me a lot of Tam like a year and a half ago. The way she kind of directs how Tam would direct traffic with Mina and Unagi in the match to to showcase, one, she's the leader, and two, to get the most out of her teammates. And we really saw that a lot in this match, and a lot, in the in the previous match with God's Eye. So I think that they're starting to gel really, really well together, and they're going to be teaming up a lot more because we still have a little bit of this triangle derby to go to. But I thought this was really, really good. I don't know how I feel about Mariah May using the Tombstone, considering the fact that's Mayu's setup for the either the two-stage dragon or the moonsault. Regardless, it looks really good. I like how she christened it Happily Ever After. I thought this match was great. I thought it was really good. Again, the two teams gelled really well together. And I've just all within about 1 week, 180 my stance on Club Venus, which I'm really happy for because I really want to see Mina do really, really well, especially coming off the facial injury she had in that match with Saya Kamatani. But for a match that went a hair over 10 minutes, I thought it was great. I actually gave it 3 3/4 stars.
I gave it 3.5. I think the big thing that I noticed over these two nights is the roles are now very, very defined in Club Venus. And I feel like each woman knows her role. You've got Xia Brookside, who starts the match, takes a lot of the heat, and then Mariah May comes in, swings the momentum, and then you've got Mina Shirakawa, who, of course, is the big force in Club Venus. But aside from just being the person who takes the heat, I was really impressed with Xia these two nights. There was one moment where she was in sort of on the mat in a headlock, and she balanced on her head and started getting the crowd to clap by clapping her feet. And I was like, how the hell does someone do that? Like, that's ridiculous athleticism. But, that aside, I thought she had really good chemistry with Hazuki. I thought those two gelled really well. I am really enjoying the stuff Mariah May is doing. And I'm glad that they gave her the pinfall here as well. So that's both Xia Brookside and Mariah May who've achieved pinfalls. So, yeah, obviously, Mina Shirakawa hasn't eaten a pinfall, but both Xia and Mariah May have. Something I did want to talk about before we talk about the rest of these matchups. Obviously, at the moment, so Xia Brookside put on Twitter that she's open for bookings worldwide throughout 2023. Now, if that's the case, and that's obviously absolutely fine, that leaves Club Venus, assuming Mariah May is the same and they aren't signed to exclusive Stardom contracts, which it doesn't sound like they are, that leaves Club Venus with Mina Shirakawa, and that's it. Now, what we don't want is for this Triangle Derby to end. I don't think either of us have got Club Venus as winning, but we don't want this Triangle Derby to end, have all this momentum behind Mina Shirakawa, and then Club Venus just disappear. So are we going to see, obviously, I think both of us have got Waka Tsukiyama at some point joining Club Venus. Do we see maybe some members of Colours breaking off and joining Club Venus? Because it would be a shame for the whole Triangle Derby to be about this brand new, faction and faction, and then it just disappear as soon as the tournament's over, Matt.
I didn't even think about that, buddy. Yeah, that's a possibility. Maybe Xia Brookside knows that after the Stardom shot, she's going to kind of go away for a little bit. Maybe that's all they have her booked for. So you figured she's working for the second biggest company in Japan that has a huge, huge following. I mean, that Tam Road show that was live and free on YouTube, I think within the first 24 hours had like 114,000 views on YouTube. So it's like she's getting a lot of exposure. So she knows that she's going to be going away from, maybe they'll say, hey, we're going to bring you back sometime in the summer for a couple shots. She's just being aggressive and being smart and betting on herself by saying, I'm getting all this exposure. Let me put my stuff out for my bookings while I'm in Stardom. I'll crush it while I'm in Stardom. And then once my, contract up or my handshake deal's up, I'm just going to go and crush it everywhere else. That's a possibility. Yeah, we do have, Waka. I think we both kind of right now, I think Waka is going to go at Club Venus. But here's something else too, Rob. And of course, I got to go to the comedy side here. That might actually happen. Lady C has a date at a beauty salon. What if she's there getting her nails done, this or that, and in comes, and who just happens to be sitting there getting a pedicure is Mina Shirakawa. And then Mina's like, hey, we're going to be here for 2 hours getting beautiful. Why don't you join Club Venus? And she talks Lady C into joining Club Venus. I mean, Lady C, you look at Queen's, I mean, I don't need to rant and rave about how much I love Queen's Quest, and I think Lady C is doing a fantastic job fitting in very well into Queen's Quest. But let's be honest, you're not breaking that top three of Utami, Azumi, and Saya Kamatani. You're just not. The three of the best wrestlers in the world. So would it be beneficial for like Lady C to maybe be, as she keeps improving, which you just admitted a few minutes ago, that she's just improving, that what if she does go to Club Venus and she's like kind of the second in command? She's one of the tallest people on the roster. She's got that brutal choke slam. She throws those chops. She throws that big boot. What if maybe she's like Mina's enforcer? I mean, that's something, maybe 4 or 5 months as they can kind of maybe keep building up Lady C. That's a possibility of something that they can go with as well.
Maybe playing the Amisori role that Amisori plays to Shiori, or initially that was what it was. Yeah, it could work. I mean, we're assuming that there aren't dates already penciled in for Zaya, and she's just looking for dates around the Stardom dates. It was just something that sort of cropped up as I was reading these results out. A match I do want to talk about, the semi-main event, Rampage God's Eye against Barry Bombers. This was my match of the 2 nights, and I think if anything encapsulates just how much Mai Sakurai has improved, it's this match here, and specifically that closing 2 or 3 minutes with Mirai, because that, for me, was fantastic storytelling. Mai Sakurai rolling desperately to get out of the mirror mare, to repeatedly get to the ropes, but then Mirai dragging her back into the hold. And then that moment right at the very, very end where she attempts to roll out of it and Mirai just clamps down on it so she's stuck. And that's when she's able to lock it in and get Mai Sakurai to tap out. It was a really, really, really compelling finish, because you think, you've got to keep Mai Sakurai relatively strong because she's got a Future of Stardom challenge coming up on Saturday as we record. So how are they going to finish this? Because you're certainly not having Julia take the pin. And you could maybe give Tekla the pin, but Mai Sakurai seems the logical choice if Barry Bombers are to lose. So when she's locked in the mirror mare, it's like, oh, that's it, just your typical finish. But I thought they did a tremendous job of keeping her strong. She was in the mirror mare for a ridiculous amount of time, Matt.
Yeah, not only that, but they showed like her fighting spirit, did a great job fighting out of it. And to Mirai's credit, she kept having to work at it, go back at it, put it on in a different way. The double wrist lock, that's her go-to submission hold. How to put it on different ways, or how to try to roll her back in the middle of the ring, or almost like, put her leg over her head for different leverage. They did a really great job working that. And and again, I mean, you talk about Mai Sakurai's improvement all the time on this show, and she's done such a great job. She had a great shot in the 5-star tournament. I'm excited to see what she's going to do at the Cinderella tournament. And then again, this just goes to show you again just how great Julia is when they put these matches together, whether it's, the Berry Bombers, or whether when Tekla was on the shelf and they did the makeshift team of Julia and Mai Sakurai's Oh My Julia. Is obviously, Julia, she's going to be the one that's calling a lot of the offense, whether it's on the apron, in the ring, or in the back. And she gives Mai Sakurai, she understands like what Mai does right, and she exploits all of her positives. And Julia does just a great job of that. And I think these 3 teams these 3 ladies, and Tekla, Julia, and Mai Sakurai, they do work so well together. As you'll see in these matches, you'll see a little bit of Mafia Bella tag stuff, and then you'll see a little bit of Oh My Julia tag stuff. And then when the match really breaks down, you'll see some triple teamwork, from the 3 DDM members. But they did a really good job teasing us a little bit with Mai Sakurai and Ami Sohrei in the beginning and the middle of this match. But at the end, even in defeat, I thought, Mai Sakurai looked great here. You're absolutely right, my friend. But I thought the match was terrific. Yeah, my favorite match of the I didn't see all of the show on the 15th because as of last night, I think they only uploaded 3 or 4 matches. So I'll take your word on it that it was the best of the better of the 2 shows. But I had this at 4 stars. I thought this was solid. And not only my favorite match that I've seen so far of these 2 shows, but probably my top 3 favorite matches of this Triangle Derby tournament.
I would go so far as to say it's my top 3 matches of the Triangle Derby ever, of any Triangle Derby match.
Wow. Doubling down, folks.
Absolutely.
Doubling down. Yeah, there you go,
all
buddy.
my chips are in with that. I mean, we do need to talk about the Aberembo God's Eye pre-match promo, because that was the most chaotic 2 minutes of television I think I've ever seen. They went from saying, oh, look, I've got new contacts in, to saying, do they look good, to then messing up their own name, to then not saying God's Eye and turning into rabbits halfway through. I was like, what is going on here?
You thought somebody spiked your tea.
Yeah, honestly, I was watching it going, I do not understand what is going on here. I was like, this, I can't be watching the right thing. Yeah, absolute carnage. And then finally, obviously, I want to talk about the main event, Cosmic Angels versus Rebel and Enemy. And am I right in thinking, Matt, that you are a big fan of Mayu Kihi?
I sure am. I think I text you right away because you look at the show, you figured the main event would have been either Queen's Quest versus Gold Ship. And just real quick, I don't like to swear in this podcast, but the fact that Queen's Quest had an L, bullshit. But anywho, great match. Or it would have been the match we just talked about, because you have Julia and Sherry, at the two captains of the team. So you figured that would have been the main event. But then as I'm watching the show, and I was like, they're putting Rebel Enemy in another main event. And I get it. It's Tam, it's Natsupoi. It's like, I get it, but yeah, what Mayu Kuki's doing, I'm really, really impressed. Maika Ozaki is really good too. Ram Kachau, I've only seen her on the New Blood shows, and I know when she was coming in, she had a lot of buzz about her. And I didn't think her matches were all that good. They were more gimmicky. Not the New Blood and the Stardom and Showcase shows. But I'm like, well, that's what Stardom and Showcase is. It's more of like a gimmick thing. But the more I've seen of Ram Kachau in these matches with Rebel Enemy, I'm really impressed by what she's doing. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Mayu Yukuki. Am I saying that right?
I think it's Yukihi, but say it with enough confidence, mate, and we'll make it that.
Mayu Yukuki, there you go. But Maya, I'm just gonna call her Maya. I'm really impressed with her. I mean, she comes to the ring with like a presence about her.
She really does. Yeah.
And you're in this promotion for the first time, only having a handful of matches with people that have the presence of a Mayu, a Julia, a Momo Watanabe, a Starlight Kid, a Sherry. That it's just like, you want to talk about presence across the board. As soon as they cut the curtain, you're like, oh boy, someone's about to get their ass kicked. And she has she fits in really well as far as having great presence once she cuts the curtain. And she's great in the ring because she throws really good kicks. She throws really good knees. She has really good submissions, which is kind of really right up my alley. And I think what they're doing, and as soon as I saw this was the main event, I texted you and I said, I think they're going to push her maybe to go have a run in the Cinderella or somewhere where they're just going to build her up to feed her towards Julia, which I'm absolutely fine with. I wouldn't be shocked to see her getting a red belt title shot, somewhere down the line. But I thought the match was great, and always great to see Tam and Natsupoi. They're out there fantastic, and I'm really enjoying Saki, playing the third role here in this Cosmic Angels team.
Yeah, she's massively improved, and I'm far harder now on her now than I was during the 5-star, or at least early on in the 5-star, should I say? And I thought actually she had one of the better exchanges with Yukihi. I thought Saki looked really good in this match. The only thing I wish is that they tend to give Natsupoi all the L's. And it would have been nice for Natsupoi to get the win here, but you can't have everything in life. Obviously, Cosmic Angels move to 4 points, Rebel and Enemy stay on 2. And actually, Yukihi has a fantastic exchange on the second night with Starlight Kid as well. So they really did highlight her over these two shows. I certainly wouldn't be opposed to it being, a red belt title defense, maybe on, I say, a lesser show. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but, like a Korakuen or something like that, if they were to do a red belt defense at a Korakuen, even though I don't think they've done a red belt defense at Korakuen since Mayu. Did Utami have one at Korakuen? I don't think she did. No, I don't think she did.
Well, our Patreon members can tell us, because I did the Utami Hayashishita complete review, and I completely forgot. So
no, she did. She did. She had the 10th anniversary show. Of course, she did.
Yeah, it is.
So I gave this 3 3/4. I thought this was a fun main event.
I gave it 4 stars, but even though I had the Julia Sherry match as 4 stars, the God's Eye versus the Bear Bombers, I like that 4 stars better than this one. But this was great as well. And as always, Rob, you must be looking at my notes, because I had Natsupoi takes the heat. Would be nice if she got a pinfall, but in parentheses I will never be upset with Tam Nakano getting a win.
Now, I think the word that best sums up these two nights is solid, because
sure.
there was nothing blow away on these two nights. I don't think there's a match really that we'd be saying, right, you need to make time out of your schedule to go and watch this match. nothing was especially bad. In fact, nothing was really bad at all. Everything was sort of around 3.25, 3.5 stars, aside from, in my opinion, Aberembo God's Eye and Barry Bombers, which was the one that sort of broke that 4 stars threshold. Would you agree, or am I being too harsh on these two nights?
No, and I think Stardom should put that on a poster and quote Rob Goodwin. Stardom, nothing is ever awful. Rob Goodwin, come see our show. $20 general admission. No, you're right. Everything on the show was enjoyable. Everything was really good. You didn't have any match of the year candidates, but it can't always be like that. Well, it might be on the show on February 4th. It might have 3 or 4 match of the year candidates. But
absolutely,
yeah. No, as always, my friend, I will. Well, what Pelling podcast? As always, I agree with you. Solid show. Everything was really good. Nothing was bad. But no match of the year candidates. But yeah, I mean, if you watch the show and you paid, $20, $30, $40 to be there, you got your money's worth. If you paid the $7, $8 on Stardom World, like we did, definitely got my money's worth. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed this show, and I was only able to watch the first 3 matches of the next show that we're going to talk about, just because it just got uploaded as we record this morning. So,
yeah, I'll do my best to give sort of a rundown of the matches, because I managed to. We've had a snow day today because the snow was so unexpected. They hadn't gritted the roads, so we couldn't get into work. So I've had a day basically where I was like, oh, they've uploaded the rest of the show from the 15th. I'm going to watch it all. So I'll do my best to sort of fill in the gaps. So this was, again, Sunday the 15th of January 2023 from Edion Arena, Osaka 2. Slightly bigger attendance. Obviously, it was a Sunday, 454 people in attendance. Match 1, 3-way match. Koguma defeated Yuna Mizumori and Mirai with the Guma roll in 7 minutes and 40 seconds. A 3-way tag match followed, with Meltier getting the win over the teams of Syuri and Amisori, and the Stars team of Hazuki and Saya Ida, with Tam again getting the pin with the Tiger Suplex in 10 minutes and 53 seconds. All the rest of these are now Triangle Derby block matches. Queen's Quest moved to 3 points, defeating Lollipop, with Saya Kamatani getting the pinfall over Waka Tsukiyama with the Star Crusher in 11 minutes and 39 seconds. Unique Glare defeat Rebel and Enemy via disqualification in 10 minutes and 50 seconds. My Himi with C moved to 4 points, defeating H&M's, who remain on 0, with Lady C's new finisher, I'm Ready, in 11 minutes and 34 seconds. In the semi-main, we had Prominence moving to 6 points, defeating Club Venus, who remain on 4 points, with Risa Sarah getting the pinfall over Mariah May with the diving double knee drop in 11 minutes and 47 seconds. And then in our main event, Gold Ship moved to 6 points, defeating the Barry Bombers, with Natsukatora getting the pinfall over Mai Sakurai with the trifecta in 12 minutes and 25 seconds. Matt, what would you like to talk about, buddy?
Let's talk about match number 2, Electric Boogaloo Meltier versus Hazuki versus Saida versus the God's Eye team of Amisori and Shuri. There was somebody that put up on Twitter just a few hours ago of clips of Hazuki and Tam trading forearms from their Goddess of Stardom championship match. I believe it was at Stardom X Stardom, and then clipped it right of the forearm exchange between these two. And I quickly retweeted the tweet and said, there's 3 things I need in my life in this order: 1, clean air; 2, really good food; and 3, a Tam versus Hazuki feud. Because these 2 ladies just laid into each other. Everybody else looked good. I mean, obviously, Meltier, their tag stuff gets better every time I see it. Saida played her role really well. Siri is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and I'm really enjoying watching what Amisori does. I thought all 3 of these teams gelled well as a tag team. As tag teams, obviously, Meltier being the constant tag team between the teams. But my God, Tam and Hazuki. To me, that just stole the show on this match, brother.
It's mental. Absolutely. Up there with one of the better exchanges I've seen. I mean, both of them hold nothing back. And I think that's something we can say about Hazuki since her return. She has held nothing back in any of the matches, whether it's a throwaway 6-woman tag opening the card or whether it's a red belt match against Utami. She holds absolutely nothing back. She is going gung-ho in every single match. And it's stupidly fun to watch. And this is why I want to see her in a prevalent spot, challenging for that white belt. She doesn't even have to win. I just want to see her highlighted in that spot again because she is so damn good.
Yeah, I'm such a huge fan of Hazuki, and I'm hoping I don't pull much. I just want Stardom to grow as a company. Whoever they're putting in as, the winner of the 5-star, the Cinderella, the white belt, the red belt, etc. I just hope it's somebody that's going to put more eyes on the product and it's going to help the product grow. But as as the fan in me, I'm pulling for Hazuki to win that Cinderella tournament because we're presuming that the winner of that tournament will go on just a few weeks later on that Yokohama arena show challenge, probably who's going to be Saya Kamatani. And man, Saya Kamatani versus Suzuki, they had a great match in the 5-star. I mean, 5-star was so good. We kind of, some of these matches that aren't on like the bigger shows, we kind of, just gloss over, but you can go back and watch their 5-star match. It was fantastic. But also too, Shuri, continuing the Natsupoi Beatdown Tour 2023. Like, there's a really good Meltear exchange in the beginning. I'm like, that makes sense. They're the tag team. The psychology of his, hey, if we use our tag team experience, we'll get the advantage here. And that happens, and Shuri just comes in, he snap nairs Natsupoi over, and it's coming. I mean, it literally sounds like somebody broke a window in my house, like jeepers creepers.
Oh,
and
she holds nothing back. It's great.
No, and poor Natsupoi. I don't know if it's a sell, a shoot, or it's a little from column A or a little from column B. But you just feel bad for poor Natsupoi because Shuri just lays right into it. And then again, you get the exchanges between Tam and Hazuki, and then Tam gets a little bit of the advantage. She starts running spots, and then she just runs. And the way the camera angle caught it, she runs right into a huge pump kick from Hazuki. And I was like, oh boy, I think it says Adidas on Tam's face or whatever shoes Hazuki's wearing, because it literally just caught her right at the last second. The way the camera angle shot it was Tam is boom, 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 and then she runs, and all of a sudden you just see Tam running, and then you just see Hazuki coming in with that pump kick at the last second. Like, oh geez, I hope she's okay. But Saida, again, great in her role here. It's like, she's always throwing the machine gun chops, and that she does like the Road Warrior Animal top rope shoulder tackle, does so well. And then she's a really great finishing stretch with Tam, to the point where she counters the Tiger Suplex, and then they tease the Itabashi as the finish, but then she gets hit with Tam with that, again, another super stiff spin kick and into the Tiger Suplex for the 3. I thought this was great. Again, the highlight to me of this match was Hazuki and Tam, but I had 3 3/4 stars. I love this match.
I want to talk a little bit about the Unique Glare and Rebel Enemy match, just because it had the potential to be really, really good. I mentioned the exchange between Starlight Kid and Yukihi and how good that was. It takes a lot to keep up with Starlight Kid because she is so damn good and she is so damn quick. But I thought Yukihi, considering I don't think high speed and, that sort of matchup is her wheelhouse, I thought she did tremendously well in those opening exchanges. I thought that Haruka Umasaki, it was certainly the best I've seen her in a Stardom ring. And she seemed far more confident. Just overall seemed more confident, which is great. And then there was a slightly nonsense finish. The referee had an injured hand, attempted to do a 3 count, and Ram Kachow grabbed the hand so that he wouldn't do it. And then Starlight Kid is talking to the referee, and Ram Kachow comes with the... I know it's not cocaine, but that's all I can see.
Holy jeez. I apologize, folks. Oh my goodness.
Just blows this illicit substance in the referee's face because Starlight Kid ducks and it's thrown out. And, literally just before that, Starlight Kid had literally bludgeoned all 3 members of Rebel and Enemy with that box. And it was just, oh, come on. Like, I don't know. The inconsistency annoyed me. But overall, I thought it was probably the best Unique Glare match. And it was another good sort of... What's the word I'm looking for? Another good highlight. Let's say that. Another good exposure for Yukihi. I thought the match between My Himi with C and H&M's was the match of this night. I thought Lady C and Momo Kogo had a brilliant exchange. Her new finisher, Lady C, which is some sort of... I don't know how to explain it. She sets for a regal plex and then it ends up into a slam. But it looks really cool. Momo Kogo took a choke slam. She ended up in the rafters. Like, she was super high. And like Lady C proper drilled her down. It was fantastic. I really, really want a Mayu Iwatani and Himika singles match. I feel like we haven't seen that much. I know they've had the odd one in the 5-star and thing, but I want to see it again because Jesus Christ, they have such good chemistry, and Himika's lariats and just hard-hitting offense just works so well with Mayu's rubber neck selling and her quick offense and creating distance. I think that'll be so good. That's something that I want to see in the future. I gave this 3 3/4 stars. How many of these did you see, Matt? Was it literally just the first 3?
That's all that was uploaded as of 10 o'clock my time last night. And literally, guys, we're recording this on a Thursday. I was watching AEW, and the next thing I know, I fell asleep. I missed the Bryan Danielson Bandito match, which I heard was great. That's just how my days are so early, and I run so hard. It's like I'm going to stay up and watch it. And I just didn't do it. But right before I went to bed, I was like, well, let me just check to see if the show's up. I'm like, it's not. So it must have just went up early your time. But kind of, I just want to just touch upon something that you said, because like I said, I only saw up till the Queen's Quest versus the Lollipop match. You talked about Micah and Mayu, and then you said Jesus Christ. Do you want to see that as a 3-way with Mayu, Jesus Christ, and Micah? Or
I feel like that's going to be on Stardom in Showcase. Like, at the end of New Bloods, just comes down with this biblical music and just calls out Micah and Mayu Iwatani for a 3-way at Korakuen.
Everybody says they want to see Mayu versus Mercedes Moné as the dream match. Like, that's kid stuff.
Yeah,
we have the savior of the new world and Mayu.
It will be interesting to see, as you put, the savior of the new world. What would he do to keep Mayu down? Because many have tried and many have failed.
What a sell, folks. Oh my goodness. Stardom, why aren't you hiring Rob Goodwin? Like, really?
I tell you what, you create far more of a buzz around Stardom and Showcase if you book Jesus Christ on it. Look at WWE. They had God tagging with Shawn Michaels. And that went really well, he says sarcastically. The Queen's Quest versus Lollipop match then, which was the last match you saw, I thought, aside from the definite increase in bum-based offense in Waka Tsukiyama, I thought she did really, really well here, and I thought she worked really well with Saya Kamatani.
Yeah, she really did towards the end. It really seemed like Yuko and Rina had maybe but a little bit of a difficulty time in the beginning of this match trying to keep up with Queen's Quest. It seemed like they were half a step off. Then I think towards the end, not only did they pick up their game, I think because Azumi, Sai, and Utami were so good, they were like, okay, like we can't, and no disrespect to Yuko and Rina, but I think they're like, okay, this isn't Julia, this isn't Shiri, this isn't Momo, this isn't Starlight Kid. We need to do a little bit better to highlight their strength. And you can see the way that Queen's Quest was able to adapt. And then I think Yuko and Rina did really, really well. And yeah, it was a really great closing stretch where like there was like 5 or 6 really close near falls with Waka rolling Saya Kamatani up, which that's kind of Waka's gimmick as she gets so close. And she's doing it against the white belt champion and what may go down as the greatest white belt champion of all time. You know, she went for the first Star Crusher and she got rolled up like twice back to back. And the second one was so close, and the way that the ref sold almost hitting the mat. It's like, oh, can you imagine if Waka's and the crowd even bid it. They bid into it. Can you imagine Waka's first win is against the white belt champion? That would have been something. But then ultimately, Saya Kamatani, basically, I think she watched the Hazuki match and was like, let me kick I gave Waka all this really good offense and near fall, so I'm going to hit the spin kick to the back of her head and do my pump kick that didn't look as good as Hazuki's, but at the same time, on a scale of 1 to 10, if Hazuki's was a 50, Saya's was a 48. So, she properly kicked poor Waka pretty good there. And then hits the Star Crusher for the finish. So I thought it was really good. I thought Queen's Quest did a really good job building up Lollipop in this match, especially the last 4 or 5 minutes. Again, it's Queen's Quest, folks. I mean, I will literally do an entire podcast on how much I love Queen's Quest. And I think me and Rob somewhere in the future are actually going to do that. Stay tuned for more details. But I had this one at 3 3/4 stars. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think it's just adding to that, Waka is going to be fine. She's going to continue to eat the losses. She's going to come to the culmination of this storyline with Cosmic Angels and maybe Club Venus. She's going to get that first win, and she is going to be fine. Is she a future Red Belt champion? Probably not. But,
What?
You heard it here first. But, not everyone can be the Red Belt champion. So, Is she going to be someone that maybe challenges for the white belt future, later down the line? Quite possibly, the SWA belt, things like that. Yes, quite possibly. She'd be perfect shoe-in for the SWA belt because she was born in New York. So it would make perfect sense. But again, we've got to get to that first win and the culmination of that storyline.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do too, buddy, because these last 4 matches sound real tasty. So obviously, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go probably even today. I'm going to, because tomorrow is Friday, so tomorrow will be New Blood 7. So what I'll do is tonight, I will go and watch these matches. I'll note them, and then I'll probably put up on my Twitter my star rating, just so it's up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just in brief before I go through how the blocks look. Prominence and Club Venus, I gave 3 1/4, and Gold Ship versus Barry Bombers, I gave 3 1/2. Let's look at the blocks then. Most teams having had either 3 or 4 matches. Let's start with Red Block, who 7-up, obviously the odd one out to that. They are 2-0 at 4 points, top of the block. Unique Glare are second, going 2-1 with 4 points. Cosmic Angels are 2 wins, 2 losses on 4 points, as are Club Venus. Queen's Quest sit in 5th, having won 1, lost 1, drawn 1. They are on 3 points. Barry Bombers sit below them at 1 and 3 on 2 points, and then propping up the rest are H&M's at 0 and 3 and at 0 points. It's Blue Block where the more interesting things are happening, because top of the block and unbeaten 3-0 are Gold Ship on 6 points. Prominence are in second, going 3-1. They are also on 6 points. Aberembo God's Eye are in third. They are 2-0-1 on 5 points. My Hemi with C sit in fourth, 2-1 on 4 points. Rebel and Enemy in fifth, 1 and 2, 2 points. Classmates 1 and 2 on 2 points. And then obviously at the bottom of the block, 0 and 4 are Lollipop. So obviously, Matt, we are more or less at the halfway stage of the Triangle Derby. Both of us have Queen's Quest winning, and obviously because both of us have Queen's Quest winning, they sit 5th in the block. Obviously, they're only 1 point. They're only 1 point off, so the chances are they will be up in the mix. Has anything you've seen so far changed your mind as to who is going to make the final?
No, not at all. And I thought you had I know we both had Queen's Quest, God's Eye. I thought you had God's Eye winning.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I meant Queen's Quest to get to the final is what I meant.
Oh, okay. No, I still think Queen's Quest, they have, 1 win, 1 loss, 1 draw. I still think they'll get there. I think the fact that they put so much on that Queen's Quest, God's Eye hype on that, the first night, and the fact that that could be the finals because they're doing the 2020 Goddess of Stardom Tag League. I don't understand why, but whatever, it is what it is. And then in that match, I think we both gave it 4 stars. That as good as it was, they held something back. Like there's more left. I think they're going to save that for the finals. So I still think that is going to be the finals. Is going to be Queen's Quest and God's Eye. I'm shocked of how many main events Rebel Enemy is getting, but that Stardom's not shy on giving chances to outsiders to show what they're doing, and I think that they're absolutely knocking it out of the park. Again, I like what Club Venus is doing. First couple showings, I was a little confused, but it seems like they're really starting to gel together and really good in getting their footing as a team. Of course, we know that Lollipop's going to be eating a whole bunch of L's. Again, love what the Berry Bombers are doing. Again, she's just fantastic. Tekla's great, and Mai Sakurai seems to be proving every outing. I'm kind of not shocked, but I'm very happy the way that Lady C is gelling so well with Mike and Himika. It seems just like Mike and Himika are like the 2 big hard hitters in Stardom, and you're throwing Lady C, who I can't wait to see this Regal Plex into body slam finish and this huge choke slam on poor Momo Kogo when I get home later today. But I'm really pleasantly surprised, and not surprised, but just excited just how well those 3 ladies are teaming, gelling well together. I'd like to see more of Haruka Yamasaki, maybe get some wins, considering the fact that she just got a semi-main event title shot at Stardom Dream Queendom. So I would like to see, based on what you said, they won a match by disqualification, but you couldn't have her pin, Ramka Chow, kind of, to put some more steam behind her. But regardless, it is what it is. But I think the tournament is going very well. Everything's been really, really solid. I think they're doing a great job so far. what, in my opinion, is the greatest Triangle Derby tournament of all time. So, how about you, buddy? How do you think it's going?
I am in agreement with you. I do think it's probably the best Triangle Derby of all time. I am in agreement with you. What they seem to be doing at the moment, obviously, My Himi with C, they're putting quite a lot of emphasis on Lady C, Barry Bombers. They are putting a lot of emphasis onto Mai Sakurai. And we've talked about how, for example, New Blood is all about promoting that youth and promoting Joshi from other areas that people might not be as familiar with. And if this tournament can be about maybe focusing on people that don't necessarily get the rub on your ordinary Stardom cards, I think that would be a perfect way of doing this, because I do think this tournament, just because of the history of it, because this is its first year, and just because people care less inherently about 6-woman tags. Currently, it's at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of the 4 Stardom tournaments. So why not use this to highlight those that don't necessarily have the limelight all that often? Your Waka Tsukiyamas, your Lady C, your Mai Sakurai, your Haruka Umasaki, your Ruaka, for example. I think this would be the perfect tournament to do that. I'm surprised that Unique Glare are second in the block, if I'm perfectly honest. I'm not surprised at 7-Up atop, if I'm being perfectly honest. I don't see them staying there, but there we are. But they do now have a win over the champions, so expect to see an Artist of Stardom championship defense against the team of Nene Takahashi, Yu, and Yuna Mizumori in the near future. Let's move on then to Friday's show, which is going to be New Blood 7, Friday the 20th of January 2023, from Bellsal Takadanobaba in Tokyo. Again, we went through this card last week, I believe, either last week or the week before when it was announced, but we'll go through it now and sort of give our winners. It's slightly difficult to sort of talk about the tournament for the new tag belts, because as far as I can tell, there hasn't been a bracket announced. So it's difficult to know who is going to be facing who in the respective semi-finals. So I'll go through the card again anyway as it stands. Obviously, we said at the top of the show that Miyu Amasaki is injured and there is going to be a change to the card, but what the actual card is, at the moment, it's still as it was. So at the moment, the 3-way battle between Lady C, Ruaka, and Marika Kobashi. We've got a singles match between Rina and Miran from Diana, the 13-year-old who me and you raved over. We've got the passion injection match between Nene Takahashi and Waka Tsukiyama. And then we've got the 4 quarterfinals for the New Blood Tag Team Championships. We have got Club Venus, Mariah May and Zaya Brookside taking on Starlight Kid and Karma. We've then got Mirai and Tomoka Inaba versus Saya Ida and Hanan Wingori. That is what I think will probably be match of the show. We've then got Nanami and Amisori taking on Momoka Hanazano and Momo Kogo. And obviously Hina and Miyu Amasaki versus Mai Sakurai and Chan Yota. I've got a feeling that a lot of this card is going to play out, especially the non-tag matches are going to play out in, how we expect. I imagine Ruaka's probably going to get the win over Marika Kobashi. I imagine Rina is probably going to get the win over Miran. And I imagine Nene Takahashi is probably going to get the win over Waka Tsukiyama in the Passion Injection match. A, Matt, do you agree? And B, are you as intrigued as I am to see how this Waka Tsukiyama and Nene Takahashi match finishes?
Yeah, first of all, I mean, we have this show here on Friday, then the Saturday show, which I'm sure we're going to preview in a moment. That looks really good as well. So I'm excited for 2 nights of some loaded Stardom action. Do I agree? I think Kabashi's going to win. I haven't seen much or any of her other than she's been very hyped up. I have a lot of people on Twitter basically telling me how good she is. And the fact that a lot of these New Blood shows, they have the quote-unquote outsiders go over. So I think that you're going to see Kobashi go over there. I'm really excited for the show. I'm a little confused because I thought Starlight Kid's partner's name was Karma, but you pronounce her as Karma. So I'm a little, I don't know if it's a different version, I think that when we're reviewing this show next week, I think that me and you will both agree that that is going to be the best outing from Karma. I think they're going to do, and I'm saying this with my fingers crossed, I think they're going to meld a little bit of the Karma persona with the Haruka Umasaki persona, where she's not going to be like as like 1970s, Memphis style heel. That's kind of boring, especially the fact that she's in it with Starlight Kid, who is the complete opposite of boring, from her entrance to her exit. So, and not only that, but it's part of the New Blood Tag Tournament. But again, if there's, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place here. Nene Takahashi and Waka is going to be great. We all know Waka has 0 wins, but she always looks good in her matches. And Nene, since she's been back to Stardom, does a great job of making everybody look good. Doesn't matter if you're wrestling a year, 10 years, she does a great job pulling her opponents up. And I expect that match to be really, really good. I expect it to be one of Waka's best singles matches, one of, if not her best singles matches she's ever had, because of the last New Blood show. I think me and you were both in agreement that the match that Nanae Takahashi had with Lady C was Lady C's best singles match. So I think that's what you're going to see here. But of course, the match I'm looking forward to the most is the Wingori match versus Mirai and Tomoko Nabe. I think that's going to absolutely steal the show. And I think that I don't know if that's going to be the main event or not, because this card is completely shuffled around. And I'm really glad that this is going to be streamed live on YouTube. We don't have to wait 2 or 3 days to only see 2 or 3 matches, then another day for the rest of the card. Proving once again, folks, Stardom can do these live stream shows.
I am going to have to disagree with you slightly, but that's only because I think they've run into a bit of a wall here with Starlight Kid and Karma teaming against Club Venus, because they're putting such an emphasis on Club Venus. And I think I mentioned this on the previous podcast. I think they will want Club Venus to go through, but without making Starlight Kid and Karma look bad. We saw Karma get disqualified by throwing a fireball. I imagine that might be how Club Venus go through this match.
Well, there it is, folks. That's a really good idea. But just to be different, I'm going to say that the Oedo Tai team picks up the W.
To be honest, this is actually a really solid card. The only thing I'm disappointed in is that one of Mirai and Tomoka Inaba and Wingori are going to have to go out of this tournament, because, again, I think I might have said this, I would have loved to have seen that as the final of the tournament.
Yeah, it reminds me of when they did King of the Ring of the year 2000. I just remember that because that King of the Ring was on my my graduation party day, and I remember looking at the card, and when they announced like who was in it, like, oh, they're gonna put Jericho and Kurt Angle as the main event of the final, and instead it was the first round match. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. You always want to have a really, really good first round match to kind of like set the tone of the tournament, and I think that's what they're doing here. So I bet you didn't think I would talk about Saya Iida and Kurt Angle all in the same segment there, buddy.
Well, some people do say that Saya Iida resembles Kurt Angle in absolutely no way. But there we are.
Probably drink a lot of milk. There you go. Saya Iida looks like a lady that drinks a lot of milk after she's done squatting 3 times her weight.
Absolutely. Squatting buildings. We then got the Stardom Awards 2022. Obviously, last year, this was where we had the reveal of Mirai and Tekla as the 2 masked Momos. It's spread over 2 shows. We've got an afternoon show, which is going to be the actual matches, and then we've got the evening show, which is going to be the awards. And we'll bring you the results of those awards next week. But the card for the afternoon stands thusly, again from Belsal Takadano Baba, from the Saturday to the day after New Blood 7. We've got a Julia 10-woman trial series gauntlet match, a series of 3-minute singles matches against Zuki, Saya Iida, Tekla, Saki, Tam Nakano, Natsupoi, Koguma, Hina, Wakasukiyama, and she's listed at the moment, Miyu Amasaki, but of course we know that she is injured. We've then got a 6-woman tag, the God's Eye team of Shiori, Tomoka Inaba, and Mirai versus the Oedo Tai team of Starlight Kid, Ruaka, and Rina. We've then got 4 Triangle Derby block matches. Club Venus versus Rebel and Enemy. 7-Up versus Gold Ship, though my autocorrect has changed it to Glad Slap, which I'm now going to start calling them.
Yeah, make the shirt. Make the shirt.
And there's Glad Slap with the trifecta. Queen's Quest versus My Hemi with C, which is going to be very promising. And then H&M's versus Prominence. And then our main event is a Future of Stardom Championship match. Ami Sourei in her second title defense against Mai Sakurai. Obviously, Matt, Glad Slap are the team that stands out of that. But what else stands out to you?
There's I think it's great. I love how Stardom put such a focus on their championships. The fact that the future Stardom championship match with Ami and Mai Sakurai is the main event, considering the fact that you have so many great matchups in the Triangle Derby. Obviously the Queen's Quest versus, you say, they're wrestling Mai Hemi with C. That's going to be great. You have Mayu and Suzuki in the ring at the same time. That's always 2 thumbs up. And I like this Julia Garland thing. I think she's really putting her money where her mouth is, saying, hey, before my first title defense against Suzuki, I want to run against all these wrestlers in basically 3-minute exhibition bout. But I think here's how this should get booked, Rob. Are you ready for this? I'm going to rebook the entire Stardom roster all in one segment. So here's how I hope everybody's sitting down, get yourself a shot of tequila, whatever, because this is about to get nuts. So Julia runs through the whole gauntlet, right? Some she pins, some I don't see her pinning Hazuki in 3 minutes. I think that'll go to the 3-minute draw.
Yeah.
But regardless, so she's exhausted. It comes to the last person. It's Waka, right? Julia's laughing. She goes, I tell you what, Waka, if you can pin me in 3 minutes, this red belt's yours.
Jesus
right? Remember,
Christ.
Rob just said about 10 minutes ago she's never going to win the red belt. So Waka tells the ref to ring the bell. The ref has his back turned. Waka, a la the Sheik in 1970, spikes Julia right in the head, bludgeons her, right? 2 minutes and 50 seconds of nothing but heat. Just Waka just beating up Julia for 2 minutes and 50 seconds. They say 10 seconds left. Waka picks Julia up, nails the burning hammer, pins her with 1 foot, all the Ultimate Warrior Macho Man Randy Savage at WrestleMania 7, and Waka walks into the anniversary show defending the red belt against Suzuki. You want to sell tickets, folks? That's not the way to do
it. So not only have you agreed that she's going to win the red belt, but she's going to do it with 1 foot and hit a burning hammer.
And bloody Julia with a spike.
Bloody Julia with a spike.
And dominate her for 2 minutes and 50 seconds. You're going to put Waka over. Let's put her over. You want to know how we've been asking for a year plus on this podcast, Rob, even before I joined the podcast, how Waka's going to get her first win. Folks, there it is.
I mean, I'll be honest, of everything that we've said, I feel like this is definitely the most likely. This is 100% definitely going to happen. So keep your eyes out, guys. We will have a new red belt champion. And then, of course, that's led to Waka Tsukiyama into Waka Tsukiyama and Suzuki in Osaka. So, Jesus Christ, the card getting shuffled.
Barbed wire death match.
Oh, my God. I've just remembered a spot, actually. Sorry. Apropos of nothing, I've just remembered a spot from the My Hemi with C versus Unique Glare match, where Lady C manages to catch a crossbody from Haruka Imasaki and maneuver her without her touching the ground into the giant swing. And it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. Just for that spot alone, go and check that match out. But yes, I'm very much looking forward to our inevitable new red belt champion. And that's pretty much it, guys, for this week. I mean, it's not been a week packed with Stardom, which does make a change, to be fair, from the weeks where we've had like 5 shows to review, Matt. So next week, what we will have is our New Blood 7 review, and of course, we will also go through the Stardom Awards show, and we'll recap all the results there. We'll also preview the next 2 dates of the Triangle Derby from the 28th and the 29th, and then obviously the week after that will be our preview of Stardom Supreme fight in Osaka, which, again, looks like a world-beating card already on the first week of February. And don't forget that cheering is obviously back for that as well, which is going to be incredibly exciting. But yes, Matt, unless you've got anything you want to add at the end of this podcast, I say we get out of here.
No, I know you're about to plug all your plugs and plug the website. Keep your eyes peeled on the website because I'm going to be writing an article for the website pretty soon. What had happened, Rob, is, and I'll tell you and all the listeners, is the gentleman, the fancy gentleman who runs the StardomCast.com, I sent him a message and I was like, hey, is it okay if I write an article? We can put it up on the website. And then after he told me to piss off, I eventually convinced said person to no. Rob obviously runs the website and said that's a great idea. So over the years, I've had a lot of people ask me to write articles for wrestling, and I would write something here or there. And I kind of just been getting the writing bug. I figured, well, if I'm going to write about Stardom, where should I place it? It'd be nowhere near perfect other than the StardomCast.com. So the article will be about Saya Kamatani on the doorstep to making history as we come upon the next pay-per-view.
Absolutely, and do check out the website. It's a great little resource, if I do say so myself. You've got all the history of Stardom, all the championships and detailed championship histories. You can go and check out all of the results from every single tournament Stardom have ever run and detailed roster and faction alliances. Go and check it out because it's a little bit of a labor of love, shall we say, between that, all the annual awards that we've got on there, the match guide that's constantly being updated, and also you can buy my books there as well, because the second Stardom one, the Chasing the Dream, not Living the Dream, Chasing the Dream, see what I did there, Matt?
Absolutely.
That is, at the moment, it's got a tentative release date of July. The chances are that will have to be pushed back till maybe September, but I will keep everyone informed on social media.
Out of your 19 books that you're writing, is that the next one that's due out?
The next one that's due out is Building Blocks, which is the 100 of wrestling's greatest matches. So I'm currently 30 matches out of 100 done for that, and that's also going to feature 100 completely unique illustrations by our good friend Shining Wizard Designs, or Matt Charlton, brother of Chris Charlton, who is not only an incredible artist but also an absolutely stand-up dude, an incredible man and a very talented artist. So do check out his Twitter page at Shining Wizard DS, because honestly some of the stuff that he's able to create is absolutely mind-boggling. But yes, thank you so much for listening to this episode, guys. We really massively do appreciate it. Don't forget you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We are quite literally everywhere. Check out the website www.stardom thestardomcast.com. You can find us on all sorts of social media at the Stardomcast. Subscribe to our Patreon. It's exciting times for our Patreon. We're going to release some more information about that all in due course, but www.patreon.com/the Stardomcast, where you can hear all sorts of retrospectives, alternative commentaries, match reviews, show reviews, all that sort of stuff you can go and find there for as little as $3 a month. You can talk to me on Twitter if you so fancy at @RealRobGoodwin. Matt, where can they find you, and sign us off, dear friend?
Yes, sir. As always, folks, if you need to get a hold of me, any questions, comments, I know some people have been trying to get a hold of me on the Discord. I check that every now and again, but the best places to get a hold of me at would be on Twitter and or the Instagram. Just send me a DM. My handle is Matt Turner OF. And again, as always, if social media is not your thing, I completely understand. I have an email, thestardomcast22@gmail.com. And as always, folks, we thank you so much for the support. It's greatly appreciated. Anything that we can do to help you out or make the show better, just let us know. Because like I always say, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast. We're all in this together, and everybody's different. Everybody's special.